All right, so is this a podcast? No, it is a POV, maybe ASMR, right in peace. Get a little bit of cat noises, maybe the occasional helicopter phone call. My studio assistant here, Dom, fucking shit up and yelling at me to come fix it. There's the goddamn cat. But regardless, this is the raw experience. What you are getting is real. We are here for 60 minutes, 1 hour inside my studio. And even though the camera's being held by the lovely Italia, just you can imagine it's you. I'm talking to you right now. You smell so good. Okay, so set the timer for 60 minutes.
1 hour, starting now.
All right, and let us begin. So, I figured I might as well sit down, and this cat's gonna try fucking with me. I'm gonna goddamn cats. No, I'll sit here and move this loopy painting. But yes, so I figured for today's first episode that I would dive a little bit into my past, talk a bit about my origin story, how I came to art to be an oil painter, my process, and how I got to where I am at today. It's gonna be hard to fit all of that into an hour, but I will try my darndest. As you can see, there's nothing pre-prepared. This is raw. You're hanging out in the studio with me, and we're just having a conversation, all right? It's the real deal, baby. It might have some roommates accidentally pop in, might have some people call. Anything could happen, I don't know. Maybe a cat could die. But anyway, yeah, so my name, Brooks Carrington Kossover, born Durham, North Carolina. Goddamn fucking cat! Durham, North Carolina, but then moved pretty much right after that. I don't remember Durham, to Greensboro, North Carolina. And I swear to God, I am going to kill that cat. I really am. But why don't we? I need to calm down. I'm gonna put away some colors. Put away some colors. Oh God. Roy G. Bibb, baby. Anyway, yeah. So, born and grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina. Now, see, the thing about North Carolina, North Kakalaki, as it were, is it is a place of great beauty and great stubbornness. And to be a good oil painter, you have to have just at least a little bit of stubbornness to you. It is a archaic, outdated, some might say, medium. You know, in the age of NFTs, it's hard to even keep up, but I try. And yeah, so essentially, growing up in North Carolina, it taught me a couple different things. One of which, always be grateful for family. And another thing, you have to make fun for yourself. I mean, I didn't grow up in New York. I would have liked to, but no, I grew up in North Carolina where it's not really shit going on. So I found myself day in and day out making fun for myself, whether it was fighting with sticks, making up games with my brothers, or going into the middle of the woods and starting a fraternal tribe and running around with torches and just I did these things, and it is and there's photo evidence. I'll post some photos right now. Yes, this is the days of the tribe, Butada Tibu. It was basically live action role playing. It's all part of the art. Anyway, make fun for yourself. I thank North Carolina for that. Although, I must say, it's hard. Growing up, I feel torn because on my maternal side, that's all North Carolina. That's where if I have an accent, it comes out at all. That's my mama's side, Southern Baptist rednecks from North Kakalaki. But my dad's side, they're like Brooklyn Jews, you know? So my dad came down, he goes to medical school, he meets my mother, she's a beautiful woman, you know? He wanted to marry her. And unfortunately, one thing led to the next, and I was born. But here's where things get a little bit interesting. Southern Baptist, the kind of like stand up and sing the words before you sort of mentality with Brooklyn Jew, put that in a freaking household together, make a couple babies. That is a recipe for psychological childhood trauma. But regardless, I don't think my childhood was all that bad. Although, being Jewish, I always felt as though I never really was Jewish. I could go to temple, I could put a yarmulke on, but my mother, you see my mother, she's a Gentile woman. She's not able to, I can't be a real Jew, essentially. And so that was always something that really upset me. I feel like I can never be close to my grandfather because of it. My grandfather, who's also an artist, and the long-winded point that I'm trying to get at, is the inspiration for why I became an artist. He's Jewish, and I definitely resonate more, if you can't tell, with my New York Jewish side of the family than I do with the, I kid you not, at a family reunion, or as they were called, pig pickins in North Carolina, one of my cousins actually tried to make out with me underneath the slide. This is fucking North Carolina. Anyway, though, yeah, I could not really ever be part of my paternal lineage because, case in point, there's a prayer a prayer done by like the Hebrew people, like my grandfather, who's a little bit more into it than I am. It's called tefillin. Tefillin is basically where you take the little black boxes. I don't know if you've seen the magic Jews in the hats, put the black boxes on their heads and do the prayers. But I was younger, and I was new to it all, and all the younger boys were learning how to do tefillin, and I wanted to do it. And the rabbi was like, "I'm sorry, but your mother, she's not of Jewish blood. You can never do tefillin." And I'm just like, well, fuck. I don't know what that was, but damn right. Anyway, yeah, but I do resonate with that, my father's side of the family. And my grandfather was creative. He did music, he did art, and he's older now. And I cried actually not so long ago because he told me that he's writing, but his days of making art, his studio practice has come to an end. He can't make it into the studio anymore. And so just things like that, I feel like they make me sad, but it also fills me with this unbelievable amount of vigor of dogma to be able to carry on the Crossover bloodline and become the greatest artist that I possibly can be. My father, I feel like he was never able to really prove himself to my grandfather. And so in a weird way, I've said this before, but I feel like I was almost crafted to be an art child. Like my father couldn't, be the person that he wanted to be for my grandfather, or that my grandfather wanted rather. And so he kind of molded me perfectly into being this weird gift, this paternal lineage painter gift to my grandfather. Everything that my grandfather does, from the music to the I had a studio growing up. I had a paintbrush in my hand in my first art lesson at the Greensboro Cultural Arts Center at age 2. I mean, at this point, painting is just I don't know what else to do. I mean, I love it, but maybe I've been hypnotized into it, maybe I've been bred to, but that's beside the point. It's in my blood, it's all over my clothes, and here we are in the studio. Anyway, I think that what really brought me to loving art myself, though, was seeing how it affected other people, and knowing that it was something that I was able to do to fulfill joy within myself. When I say that, I mean, a good example would be in elementary school, Greensboro Academy. I am a Greensboro Academy student. I strive to achieve high moral excellence. Yeah, I went to one of those schools. But yeah, so I think that it was in 5th grade, I'll never forget, I would draw, I loved Pokemon, obviously, Dragon Ball Z, and I would draw Pokemon, and the kids, my parents, my dad's a doctor, my mom's, in the medical industry as well, and I never had the healthy, I never had the unhealthy lunches. No beef jerky, no Lunchables, none of the good shit in the lunchbox. It was always the baby carrots. It was always the stuff that doctors would feed their children, essentially. And so that sucked. But what I discovered is by drawing with crayons and graphite pencil, mind you, Pokemon at lunchtime, I could trade my drawings for the good snacks. And that's all it took in a young boy's heart to get those good snacks. And hell, one good snack led to the next, and look where I am. But yeah, so being able to see how something I could do would excite other people and, you know, get me snacks, obviously I had to keep on going with it. And I looked for inspiration in the things that inspired me, which, you know, being a young boy, video games, Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, anime. I mean, I love anime. It's no secret, you know, it's all over the place in my life. Yeah, anime shaped me, and I like to draw a parallel between Van Gogh. I know Van Gogh's not the best mental role model. I know I shouldn't be comparing myself to him, but I'm just saying, Van Gogh, his colors became so vibrant when they were inspired by the, not a lot of people would think that he was kind of going along with the post-impressionist movement that was sparking up in Paris at the time, but it was really the Japanese woodblock prints from the East that he got his painty little hands on that inspired him to do these stark, brilliant colors that create chromatic space in that way, where the yellows and reds come forward and the blues recede. And if you think about it, what were those woodblock prints if not the anime of the time? I mean, it's here, come, let me show you something. Oh, pardon me. My life's surrounded by this stuff. I mean, I think I probably drew this Jigglypuff. Oh my God, I'm 28 years old. 20 years ago, I don't know how old are you in 5th grade. Whatever, you know, like 16 years ago at lunchtime to be able to, you know, get the beef jerky. And now here I am painting it, and you know, it comes full circle. But the woodblock prints, they inspired the colors, and the anime, that's what inspires me, baby. And I think that it's anime that really kind of brought me to oil painting in general. I mean, my grandfather, as I said, was an artist, mostly a sculptor, but he did do oil painting, and I always really wanted to oil paint. But it's not like, you know, Greensboro, North Carolina, there's not too many places you can just go like, oh, time to like be an oil painter. So I let there was a deciding moment I'll never forget in my heart of hearts that I said, wow, like, not necessarily that I wanted to be an oil painter, but I looked at a sunset. There was a lake that my family used to go to when I was a young boy, and one evening I was, or rather sunset, right before an evening, I was watching as the sun was setting beyond the mountains in Lake Philpott, Virginia. We used to travel out from North Carolina. And as the sun was setting, the colors in the sky just painted with these beautiful reds and pinks, like that receded to this blues. And I thought, like, there's no way that this could better be captured than in oil paint. And I mean, I'm like 10, 11 years old here at this point. So, I mean, the fact that that came to me at that age, it must say something. It stuck with me. And so fast forward a couple more years, and here I am in 6th grade, and I'm on my full power, like, final form anime weeboo, like, just a little nerd Brooks. Like, I loved it. I was big into Inuyasha, Rurouni Kenshin. I really loved I loved animes that were featured in like sort of feudal Japan-esque aesthetic, even like Naruto as well. Anything that felt feudal Japan, I fucking ate that shit up. And so, of course, I wanted to practice kendo, Japanese swordplay. And, you know, back in these days when, you know, I was 12 years old, you couldn't really just go onto your iPhone and try to find, look up the closest place to find kendo lessons. Like, no, I don't know how many of you guys have, and there we have a helicopter. I'm telling you guys, you're getting the real deal here. But yeah, so basically, these were the phone book days. Who here has seen a phone book? I mean, they are, I mean, at this point, if there was one anywhere in the general vicinity, it would be an anachronism, to say the least. But anyway, we did the thing. My mom and I, we scrolled through the pages, and we found a kendo / aikido studio not even too far off from where I was at. So we tried calling. Unfortunately, no answer, but it wasn't that far off, and it was a reasonable time of day. So my mom was like, okay, honey, do you want to maybe just go and check it out, maybe look in and see like what it looks like? And I was like, yes, mommy, I'm an 11-year-old boy. And so that was that. We drove off to the Kendo studio, and to get there, unfortunately, it's closed. But well, you know, let me back up a little bit. Let me describe this place to you, because this isn't just some, like, you know, storefront. Now, this is Greensboro, North Carolina. It was nestled. It's called Guilford School Road. It was nestled into these woods. Like it was a house. It was like a tiny little one-story house that had been repurposed, and the house had been repurposed to fit two small, adorable little businesses. One, the Aikido studio / Kendo / Japanese martial arts of many different kinds, as I would come to find out. And then the other half, which was open when we went in on like the Kendo studio, was an atelier. And what an atelier is, it's an art studio where they train you in like a sort of a more classicist approach to doing things. And it was an oil painting studio, and I shit you not, it was called Serendipity Art Studio. And it was serendipitous indeed for me to find myself here. Ty, sit down. You were just standing up. I'm so thankful for you doing this. But anyway, yeah, it was serendipitous of me to stumble upon this this art studio, this oil painting studio, when I was really, because of anime, trying to be a samurai and going to do Kendo lessons. And instead, I happened upon something that would really change the way that my life would unfold from that point on. So I then began to train under the tutelage of Jane Averill, which I didn't know at the time, but it's a very topical name, because one of my favorite painters, Henri Toulouse-Lautrec, he was very well known in the post-impressionist movement. He's known for his paintings of the Moulin Rouge. You've probably seen them. If you know, you know. If you don't, you still know probably. But his muse, who was a dancer at the Moulin Rouge in Paris, her name was Jane Averill, spelled the exact same way. And that's a little bit of a, you know, side story, but you know, serendipity. It follows me in a novelesque way, I found, through like all walks of life. And you know, you have to learn to let go and let God sometimes. You know, whatever God means to you. Apparently, to me, God is my mommy looking through the phone book and taking me to the Kendo lessons that ended up being an oil painting studio through serendipity. Anyway, training classically to do oil painting, I mean, it was fun, but what's even cooler is that I also was able to go to the Kendo lessons when they opened up. Have you ever had two things so closely like together in your life that you have no choice but to like mentally like stick them together? You know, like you have to place them together. Like, I know as a painter and an editor, because I do things on the computer a lot as well, sometimes I will literally make a mistake in painting, and my brain's instinct is to go Control Z, undo, like quick key. And then I'm like, oh my God, no, this is not computer land, this is reality. And yeah, so it kind of happened very similarly with oil painting and Kendo, or martial arts, or rather Katori Shinto Ryu style of Kendo, which is the one that I ended up practicing. But yeah, it martial arts, and specifically Japanese martial arts, and oil painting, they grew up together from 6th grade until high school, when I ended up even teaching at the art studio. I would be washing the brushes, and I would be hearing the clacks of the bamboo swords, man. Like, if any of you guys are familiar with my art series, The Power of Art, you'll notice that the brush of wisdom, upon closer inspection, is actually a Kendo practice blade, just wrapped with a bunch of shit. So, a little callback there for you. Anyway, yeah, so what does it mean to have a art practice that has become so closely integrated with martial arts in that way? How does that kind of build me to be the painter that I am? Multiple reasons. One is through the application and approach. When I'm gonna have to point out every time there's a sound. We got like a sink back there. But you guys, like I said, real deal here. You're hanging out in the studio. I don't even know if this is gonna work an audio only podcast, but hey, I'm putting them on YouTube. Hopefully I can do like one a week. I'm gonna be getting more guests. I know I love to talk, but I promise you, that's just for this episode. Every other episode will have guests, but I figured for the first one, I would really just put it all out there and just, this is me, Brooks Carrington Kossover the first and the last, mind you. All right, I think we went down to 3 stars. The helicopters are going. But yeah, so the approach to oil painting through the mentality of a martial artist is you're going in there, you need to make your movements, you need to get it done. And when I say movements, I'm not just talking like going in and making like a stroke, but I'm talking about like a movement as like an idea. It could be a body of color, it could be like a nameable object, it could be anything, but it's in the moment. When you're fighting, when you're sparring, when you're going up against someone, like when you're taking your stance, your Katori Shinto Ryu stance, and you're about to have a sparring match, or like we're talking like sword fighting here, guys, you are in that moment. A lot of times people they make art and they might find themselves overthinking or, you know, being caught up on little details and the such and the like. But for me, it's never really been that way. I mean, obviously there's going to be outliers and instances, but for the most part, I've stayed pretty true to when I paint, I try to do so in the moment. Like painting, as I always say, can be a meditation, a dance, or a battle. And for me, I choose the latter, baby. Every painting that I finish is a battle I've won. And how sweet the spoils of victory can be, and how salty and shameful the tears of defeat are. I will tell you that right now. But that's another thing. The martial artist mentality, specifically under the dogma or bushido of Japanese swordplay, it's something that's ingrained into your head. You know, harakiri, for instance, stomach cutting, like seppuku, like, and you know, to bring us back to my weeaboo Brooks's feudal Japan loving days, like, rather than accept dishonor and have to live with that, you know, the samurai, they would take out their blades and they would cut open their stomachs and they would have, you know, someone else finish them off, you know. But that's the honorable way to do things. And look, maybe it's not the healthiest way of looking at things in the 21st century westernized America, but hey, I don't know, it's how I grew up. And so yes, I would say that, have I made foolhardy and very brash, hard-headed, stubborn decisions because of my bushido? Yes. Have I lost opportunities? Yes. Have I ended what could have been otherwise beautiful relationships? Yes. But what have I not lost? My honor. The honor of an oil painter. Oil painters have so little in this day and age, so I have to have at least that. Anyway, yeah, so a little bit of honor, a little bit of action, and a whole lot of paint. Baby, I was painting non-stop, left, right, paintings here, there. I discovered that, wait.
Yes, behind it, there's a hole sometimes, and now you can't open it because somebody...
What are they talking about? Keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it, dog. Alright. Sorry, I just didn't want anyone else to hear, but kind of growing something back here. Look at that. think I need to get Apprentice Dino to come and help me harvest these, because I have no idea how to do it. And honestly, they've just been fed White Claws that have been left after parties, so I don't even know how they're alive. God damn it, it's frankly a miracle. But anyway, maybe it'll be a little bit less noisy back here. Where were we? Yes. So, when I began to discover that similarly to 5th grade Brooks, making oil paintings could be used to some benefit of young, early adolescent Brooks, you know. Girls liked them. They didn't like me, they liked the paintings. But that was a start, you know, a start. You know, they were great gifts. I was making money. I was selling things for like, you know, a couple $100s when I was, you know, 13, 14 years old. Like, that's a lot of money for someone back then. I could buy a GameCube if I wanted. I could get a freaking Xbox 360, and I did. And the life of a painter, it was sweet, but in some weird way, like, I was doing it always because of my grandfather. And so as I became closer to art, I became closer to him, and I began this relationship with him, and we would talk on the phone all the time. I would constantly, always copy his paintings, you know, like, you do master copies, you know, when you're in art college or high school or wherever, to learn. You go see a painting, you paint from it to learn. And so what better way to take the psychology, the artist, like the artistic prowess, the bloodline itself, than to get into my grandfather's head by kind of like reverse engineering and trying to figure out how he approached the material of oil, and then allow myself to then adopt that, because I mean, it really isn't adoption at all, it's my birthright. So yeah, it was the way that my grandfather's paint rested upon the surface that really took my paintings, I feel like, to the next level. Because when it comes to painting, a lot of times you'll see a painting on the screen, you look at it for 2 seconds, and like, okay, you see it in person, it might even be the same thing. But there are those who know paintings when they are paintings. I'm not talking about little drawings with paint. They stand alone. The surface, everything. It's engaging. When you stand in front of a Mark Rothko painting, you have to be there to experience it. You can't look at an image. That's what I learned from painting from my grandfather's work. As I said, he was mostly a sculptor, but his application of paint onto the surface with the mentality of a sculptor kind of added to the that visceral quality that I feel like I now use and have. Like, you look at any of my paintings in person and you'll see I don't go easy on the paint. But I digress. I ended up basically becoming better at oil painting, or really just art in general, than my stupid freaking 8th grade public school teacher, Miss Chafin. God damn it. Miss Chafin. Her catchphrase was, "Quit your belly aching." Well, guess what, Miss Chafin? Where the hell are you now? Well, I hope you're still alive, actually. That would be bad. But anyway, there is one good thing I learned from Miss Chafin. I'm sorry, we're going on off all different kinds of tangents here, but hey, you're getting the real deal. I'm just talking to you while you're hanging out, and you're not Italia. You're you. Whoever you are, you're beautiful. Especially if you're over 18. If you're not, you're beautiful as a human being. But if you are, then hit me up on Instagram. Anyway, yes, the middle school art thing, it was, you know, it was just kind of interesting how I would still have to go to like art lessons, even though I was now training in this like classical atelier. But you know, it was art lessons, and I would always tell Miss Chafin, like, no, actually that's wrong. No, you're wrong. And she's like, it was time for her to quit her belly aching. But yes, the one good thing I did learn from her was that when painting, and you're putting any number of things in a painting, trees, birds, anything that repeats itself, it must always be an odd number. I don't know why, but it has to be. That is the rule. And as an artist, I know rules are meant to be broken, but never that one. Always an odd number. But moving forward, with no help to Miss Chafin, I was able to get into, build my portfolio, mostly Jane at Serendipity Art Studio, but build up a portfolio to be able to go to the Weaver Arts Academy, which is the magnet art school that you had to audition for in Greensboro. And it was a wonderful place, really. Although the school itself looked like a prison. It had some very brutalist, like German architecture. It was grim, but what took place inside was quite lovely. And I'll never forget, I was so nervous because after you get your portfolio accepted, you have to go in and they set up this huge still life. And they accept your portfolio, that's how they get people in, but then they weed all the people who can't draw and prove that they can fucking do it right in front of their eyes. And so I went into a room with, like, I mean, you know, there were 60 or so people, I guess, that are trying to get into a slot that only 20 people can get into. And I went in there and I just smiled slyly as I looked around at the drawings of my classmates. Oh, I would be getting into Weaver Academy. And I did. Unfortunately, you weren't able to oil paint in the School of Arts like that. They didn't have good enough ventilation. But, you know, still, it was good because I was forced to think outside the box because my teachers, rather than being oil painters like in the art studio that I went to, which, let's go make sure my studio assistant is not fucking up now that I think about it. Come. Ooh, look at these. They're coming in. Look at that. All right. Not bad. Anyway, yeah, so what I did pick up from Weaver Academy was one of my teachers was really more of a conceptual artist. And so the concept is something that you always carry with you as an artist, I feel like. But I, up until that point, had absolutely no care for it whatsoever, not in the slightest. I wanted to paint like Caravaggio. I wanted to make things look as real as they possibly could. And yeah, if anyone trying to tell me anything other than that was just wrong. It's a stubborn North Kakalackian in me, but I guess by senior year, I did come around, and there was another art teacher there as well, who was basically primarily focused, not oil painting either, but graphic design as well as commercial design and illustration. So I learned my drafting techniques, I learned the Adobe Creative Suite, how to use a MacBook to Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, InDesign, the good stuff. And yeah, so I'm grateful for that as well. And the third teacher who I had at Weaver Academy, also not an oil painter, was an incredible anatomical, like he did the figure. And one thing that was particularly interesting about him, his name is Mr. Cozart, Steve Cozart, you can look him up, he's still working and making incredible shit, is he brought something new to me as an artist, as they all did. He was colorblind, and as a colorblind person, his sort of mantra was value trumps color, baby. Value always trumps color. And I can just hear him say that over and over again. And I mean, yeah, it does for you. You, sir, don't see colors, but you can't say that to your teacher, obviously not. But it is important sometimes to look at things from other artists' perspective, and in allowing value to be trumped, or color to be trumped by value, I was able to attain really good shading practices, as well as like an understanding of anatomy through his teaching. So even though I wasn't, and there's that goddamn cat again, I swear to God, it's like every time I come back, like, what do they want? Matisse, do your job and kill it! Kill it now! He doesn't have a violent bone in his body, do you? No. Okay, but this cat really is going to drive me insane. It's like literally as soon as I come back. Oh, here, let's go inside. the seat with me by the sunflowers.
Here.
Let's move this fan. Yes. All right, not sunflowers, but still.
It's very dark in here.
It's dark. It's backlit, isn't it?
Yes.
It's all part of the 60 minutes. Hey, how about this? You sit there, and I'll sit here. Or what are we doing? I'll tell you what we're doing. Unedited, raw artist studio hangout. You and me, pal. You and me. Anyway, so yeah, I picked up a lot from my teachers in high school, and I even managed to get into the art school of my dreams. Now, see, there's one thing that I do is I fucking overcompensate. Now, I'm short. I was bullied as a kid. Like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna fucking go all the way. And so, if I'm gonna get into an art school, I didn't apply to any other art school. At the time, there were two super big major players in the fine arts world. I don't know academically where things are standing now, but as someone looking at colleges and doing a lot of research, mind you, there were two really big colleges that were like, if you want a BFA in painting, you go to MICA. And then there was RISD, the Rhode Island Institute Design School in Rhode Island, and that was more based around design and illustration and that sort of thing. But no, MICA, that's where I was gonna go if I was gonna be a painter. So I worked day in and day out until, I used to be able to smell oil paint. You ever smelled oil paint? Most people can. I cannot. I literally don't smell it. It is in my blood, which is terrifying and a little sad because I kind of miss the smell of like walking into Serendipity Art Studio and being hit with, yes, time to paint. It's still time to paint, but the smell is gone. It lives on in my memories in my heart. But I think that really overcompensating is one of the ways that I've gotten to the point of where I'm at in my life right now. And not applying to any other college, manifesting, if you will, getting into the best premier oil painting school in the nation with a scholarship. Like, I stayed up and just worked and worked and worked. I did my AP art, and then I did more. I just kept going and going and going to the point where like I was beginning to freak out, not just my friends and family, but even myself. I was like, I am insane. And there was a point, age 17, where I really came pretty close to losing my whole mind. There's something interesting about that age, on the cusp of being an adult. I was an adult when I was 13, technically, but no. But being at that age, and like you're at a junction in your life where like, what are you going to do from here on out? And I was really faced with adulthood in that way, and I fully committed. I was gonna break, and I knew I couldn't, because at the end of the day, that's what I was created to be, whether for the good or bad. It's abstract, really. It's just the way it is. I was born to paint, and I just have to accept that, because if I try to do anything else, I won't exist anymore. I don't live to paint, I paint to live. And when first going to MICA, I took all of my sophomoric idealism of someone who had just come out of high school and was hotshot with their portfolio. They had spent hundreds of hours preparing to get into college, and I was ready to, go into fucking the room, like back in Weaver Academy when I was going up a bunch of different people who really didn't know what they were doing. But that was the difference with MICA. MICA, I went into a room where people knew what the fuck they were doing. I was in the presence of people from all over the world who painted by my standards at the time, what I understood painting to be, much, much better than I did. And it was intimidating, but it's in moments like that when you are most intimidated that you overcompensate. And oh boy, am I try hard when it comes to overcompensating. It's, you know, I grew up with 2 younger brothers, Tyler and Hunter. Shouts out, love you. But yeah, growing up with 2 younger brothers so close in age to me was something that shaped me, and I know them as well, because it fueled me with like this feeling of passion that exists within rivalry and being like, I can do this better than you. No, I can do this better than you. And so through rivalry and through wanting to be able to essentially, for lack of a better way of putting it, one up someone, like do something better than somebody else. In my mind, that's what I wanted. I wanted to go into the premier art college of the nation, and I wanted to be the best. And so that's what I did. And at the time, I was just fucking losing it. Like, all these people were so good, I was inspired. It's like you see all these people doing things that you have no idea could even be done, so you're doing them, and then you're doing other things, and then you were just like being fed, force-fed all this information, not just about the processes of how to make art, but also the rich and beautiful history of it, from the cave paintings in the south of France 28,000 plus years ago to the lines that are being scribbled onto canvas by Cy Twombly hanging up in the Philadelphia Museum of Art in gigantic, epic rooms. And what has to be understood, which I certainly didn't going into art college, was that if it's hanging in a museum, there is a reason it's there, and it is valid within the context of art history. Because, like the father of modernism did, if you can convince other people that your way of doing things is the right way, the paradigm shifts and it becomes the right way. So all great artists have, and just like in music and anything in humanity, they've shifted the paradigm by allowing themselves to try something new, to build on what has come before. With a knowledge of what's come before, you have to know what has come before to add on to it. And then by doing something new and being able to articulate why the way you're doing things and defend, especially during critiques, why the way you're doing things is the right way, convincing the rest of the world is the first step in changing it, baby. So Cezanne, he was a terrible painter by all standards, and yet now he is one of the most important painters of all history. Just because he was able to fucking do a little schmoozing and boozing and diddling his way into the hearts and minds of the art world through his sweet, sly conversational skills. So, art school. That's one thing it taught me. Art is kind of bullshit. And you have to be able to learn the art of bullshitting if you really want to be able to be an artist at all. I mean, Oscar Wilde even says it, like, art is useless. It sounds bad saying that, but a flower is useless. It's pretty. You look at it, you derive joy from the flower. The flower smells nice. It's good. Well, what is the purpose of it? I mean, maybe there's some like herbal remedies for some flower, whatever. But that's not the point. It doesn't serve a purpose, and so it can be kind of hard to come to terms with the fact that people are out there saving lives. Firemen, doctors. And yet, here I am fucking painting Pokemon, not really doing shit, but it brings me joy, and I know it brings other people joy, so I can get to sleep at night most times. But at the end of the day, art is bullshit, art is useless, but art's a real good time, man. Hey, it's my life. But it's easy to hate on what you do, I feel like, but I wouldn't be where I'm at today unless I fucking kicked myself in the ass every single time that I fucked up just even a little bit, or gave myself even just the slightest room or like margin of error. Like, I was hard on myself, but I had to be, because I went from that foolhardy, stupid kid who didn't even fucking know who Gauguin was, like going into art school, to my senior year in Baltimore. I didn't even go to class because my professors, I mean, they're like, Brooks, you're doing everything that you're literally supposed to be doing, like, after you graduate right now. Like, you're a terrible student, but I mean, you're a good artist, so we're gonna pass you. But like, yeah, I would not have a college degree, a bachelor's degree, mind you, at all, unless it was fucking art school. And for the kindness and understanding of some of my professors who, I was definitely, you know, art school, it shaped me to be who I am in a lot of ways. But I've made a separate video you can go and refer to earlier on if you're interested to hear a little bit more about my experience and how I feel just about art within the context of academia in general. But to focus on the good things, like, yeah, I was definitely it definitely got me to really what it was being surrounded by that many like-minded people who are all just like fucking the greyhounds, just chasing, it seems like, in circles, just chasing for it. They want it. What do they want? They want a gallery show. They want record. They want to do, what do they want? I mean, that's why I liken myself so much to Ash Ketchum, because at the end of the day, what is a Pokemon master? I don't know. What does it mean to, as I would oh so boldly claim to be one day the greatest oil painter of my generation? But what does that mean? Who defines that? There's no shiny medal award. No, there's no juror, like a panel, like, who are going to say, ah, yes, Brooks, oil painter of the generation, I'd say so. Yes, indeed. No, it doesn't work like that. There is no Pokemon master. It's a concept out of reach, but still tangible enough to the point where it seems like you might just be able to get it. And so that's the dream. That's what keeps me going. It's my family. It's the bloodline. It's my deeply like ingrained sort of like whole essence. Like, it's all there. And that was, of course, until I'm going to take the final. I wanted to do 10 minutes to hint a little bit about, I don't talk about it very much, but discuss my tattoo. So, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. You don't know too much about what it is. This, the arm of amalgamation. Now, as someone who loves video games, role-playing games in particular, I was a dungeon master. Here, let's go outside. Hopefully that cat has shut the fuck up. But, yeah, as someone who loves video games and anime, might I add. Did I say I liked anime? Okay, good. Yeah, the tattoos really, for me, I mean, you can think of it like this. It was a Boy Scout badge system. I needed to take everything in my life, all the frivolous activities, all of the playing video games, all of the like fucking around, and I needed to find a way to really motivate myself. Like, why do people play World of Warcraft? Why do people spend countless hours on Skyrim? Like, it's because you accomplish something, shink-da-dink, you level up, and there it is. There's like some sort of release, some serotonin, something you feel accomplished. And that's what this is, really. The arm of amalgamation. When I first started getting this tattoo, people thought that I was crazy, because these symbols, they represent progress. It's a Boy Scout badge system, essentially. So the more that I accomplish as a painter, the more paintings I make, the more people that I paint, the more techniques I learn. That's what goes into leveling. And so as I level up, more is added on to it. I'm actually about to, I've been saying this for a while now, but I need to get I've reached level 75. I'm now level 76. And I need to get some new work done on the tattoo. The tattoo is actually not up to date, but between you and me, bud, it's gonna be fine. But yeah, so the symbols are many different origins, but mostly alchemy. But we got some Hebrew, a little bit of Braille on there, why not? And of course, every time I get it worked on, I have to have the infinity hit. Because at the end of the day, the arm of amalgamation, it's really, it is in itself a statement on Ein Sof, or like essentially it's a Hebrew Ein Sof is a limitless nothing. It's the concept of Hashem, of God, in a weird abstract way. Like the infinite. What is the infinite? Like, everything falls into the law of impermanence. That's just the way that life is. Everything comes to an end. The star is slowly burning out. No new stars are being made. But I'm going to get depressed if I say that anymore. So instead, let's focus on the happy things like painting. And that's what I did with this tattoo. I'm sure many of you guys have seen Full Metal Alchemist, right? It's either people are like, are you satanic? Or, oh, this guy likes Full Metal Alchemist a little bit too much. Yes, yes, yes. I like Full Metal Alchemist, but believe it or not, alchemy exists outside of the anime Full Metal Alchemist. Maybe that's how I came to know about it, but that is not the point. What is the point is that really the base principle of alchemy, the whole reason it was ever funded, invented, and like it ever became a thing at all, is because it's about taking something of lower value and through amalgamation being able to increase its value. Lead into gold. I mean, that was really what alchemy was at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, you can get into the more like philosophical, spiritual, limitless, infinite, something from nothing if you want, but if we're gonna keep it simple, plain bird, but not a cat. If we're gonna keep it simple, then we should just fucking put it out here like this. Lead, gold. What's my lead? Come here, I'll show you. Well, there is actually lead in this paint, but that's beside the point. It's a metaphor, okay? The paint, the brushes, the materials, that is the lead. Maybe I spend $60 on it. The paintings, through the amalgamation, through the process, through the arm, through the hand, the paintings, that is where the value comes. How much did this lead cost? I don't know, $45 to $60. How much is this painting worth? Its weight in gold compared to it. Or, you know, priceless. It all depends. Or, you know what, you can just throw it out. It's bullshit, right? At the end of the day. But, yeah, so that's really the main concept behind the tattoo. And it's what keeps me going. The feeling like I have somehow tricked my mind into being the main character in my very own World of Warcraft sort of oil painting situation that I've gotten myself into with this life. And I know I've gone to a lot of different places with you guys, and physically and non-fictitiously in the past hour or so, but I really wanted to take a moment to make a video where I just opened up and you know, kind of set the stage for what's to come, because I know I haven't been posting very many videos on my channel recently. It's because I've been focused a lot on art and a lot of other sort of like things that I'm not going to get into at the moment. You know, life happens, you know, but that's when you gotta let go and let God, baby. All right, like I'll say it again. And who is my God? This sweet boy right here. No, get out of here, Matisse. Go kill that cat. Go kill the cat. He's cooking something up. Yes, but anyway, yeah, I would like to be able to do more of these studio format. Like, is it a podcast? Maybe. The audio quality certainly isn't. I mean, the whole point is that you're in the environment, all right? You know, you see roommates, you hear sounds, you experience whatever I am in the moment. Nothing's filtered, nothing's cut out. That's how I want these episodes to be. And in the future, they will have different guests, as I stated earlier. A lot of exciting guests to come, so I'm very excited to share with you guys that for the future of my channel. And I'm mostly focused on streaming because I can stream while I paint. And as much as I do love making the videos, it's a bit of a gourmet operation and bills must be paid. I live here in Hollywood and the rent is not cheap. I will tell you that right now. And I work my ass off every single day. And I can't speak to what the future of my channel holds down the long run. But for now, I would like to say that yes, I think that I could probably manage one of these at least bi-weekly. And I hate to say things I can't follow through with. I really do. So maybe we can get it to weekly. I don't know. Maybe no one watches this. Maybe people turn it off after 2 minutes to, you know, do what the fuck ever. Inconsequential, okay? Wow. I feel like I covered pretty much most of the things I wanted to get to, and I have 6 minutes left. So why don't we take a moment to meet Dom here. Young Dom, let's see how you did.
Ran out of
So we're
paint.
gonna need to wait for oh, Dom. This is one of my most powerful brushes. Clean this out right now. It's acrylic for
Get
preparing
right
the
on
surfaces. Never paint with acrylic. It is for crafts and surface prep only. It is plastic. You would not put plastic on a person, would you? Unless maybe contact lenses, you put them in their eyes. They are technically plastic. But oh, here we're going to get in. I thought we were going to talk to Dom, but no, we're going to talk about my psychological illness of hatred for acrylic paint. Acrylic paint, man. It's like some people, they really think that you can just go paint a portrait with acrylic paint. No, you're not painting a portrait. You're not painting a person. You're painting a mannequin. It is plastic. The only way to truly paint a person, to capture that flesh, that raw, that energy, is through oil, through the raw base metals and minerals and pigments ground and bound to the most beautiful, refined, bleached, or otherwise treated oils. Man. But yes, why don't we go see how Dom's doing cleaning my sweet brush. Look at this, are you kidding me? You don't have to worry about it. All you need is water. Here, let me show you. Oh, look at this. Looks like some radioactive waste in here. This is my slop sink. Welcome. As you can see, we have a bit of a graveyard of brushes here. I don't take very good care of most brushes, so the really expensive, important ones I have to decorate and make important so that I don't fuck them up, because now it's basically art. Also, here's this fun cactus tree here, which I'm sure Dom has already become rather acquainted with. These little things here, those are all very prickly cactus fruits or things. They fall off. There's spikes everywhere. I constantly am picking them out. It's just one of these like inconveniences I've learned to deal with. It's just part of the studio, and at the end of the day, I can't hate it. I love what I'm doing, and I love painting. And young Dom here, he's trying his hand out. Wait, hold on, watch out for that.
Yes, I know.
Dom. Here. Let me get you a cloth. I just got. You're gonna have to wash that.
sorry.
You're gonna have to wash that brush again, man. You fucked up.
I had to shake out.
It's okay.
The paint because it was running out.
It's
It's like out. I barely
It's okay.
got this last one.
Don't worry about it. That's the problem with acrylic paint. It doesn't go very far at all because it's plastic. You know, oil, it glides, it's smooth, it's like butter. It'll get you there. It'll go the distance. Not acrylic though. Never acrylic. Let me see that. Yeah, go wash that off some more. But as I oftentimes do, I can only take the rule of two, master and apprentice. I can only have one apprentice at a time, and my foolish, foolhardy slacker of an apprentice, Dino, has not been making it out to the studio as much as I would like. I mean, I do understand he lives a ways out, but Dom does too, and he's in here. But you know, it goes assistant, student, apprentice. That's the hierarchy, and so he's learning the ropes of how things start off. Basically, we'll probably do some streams together, and you guys will meet him. And later on, he's going to learn a thing or two about oil painting, and who knows? Anything is possible. Hold on, how much time is left? I'm calling it. It is 1 minute and 8 seconds. 1 minute and 42 seconds. What, Matisse? Did you kill that cat? Yeah, you did. I knew it. But yeah, Dom. So here's your 1 minute. Let's finally meet you. All right, that's enough from you. Get out of here. No, I'm
Eagle
just
Fan
kidding.
Karate.
I'm just kidding. No.
Hey, I got a rep.
Cobra Kai.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
not Cobra Kai, Eagle Fang.
Yeah, right.
Bite
exactly.
like an eagle.
And I'm glad that you're wearing that because I don't know if you've seen the architecture of this place even, but it is Japanese.
It is
it's a Japanese styled house, and much to kind of pull back onto where I was at earlier. I feel very much so like this is my dojo, and I meditate and I fight and I prepare and I train in here, train day in and day out because some people are just painting, but I'm training, baby, every day of my life, nonstop. So soon you will be too. And all of you guys will bear witness to it. Just you wait and see. Just you wait and see. And 59 seconds. 28 seconds. I suck at this. I have no understanding of time whatsoever. But Atalia, you have 20 seconds. Say something.
Hello everyone, how are you? Have a good day. Yeah.
So positive.
Yeah, that's our positive. That's the.
Wholesome.
That's all I do is spread positivity.
All right. Well, until next time, guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out in the studio. Peace.